Easter holidays has for years been a period where EMS personnel are expected to be ready for emergencies. This is because most travelers are out of major routes to various long and short distance holidays. This will mean most personnel will work long hours to assist those that might need help. Well, joining us is Owen Manhire, who is from Ralmed Ambulance Services. Good afternoon, sir. Thanks very much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
A busy time for you guys.
Expected, yes, definitely. Like you said earlier, when people are traveling out, the roads do get busy. We get a lot of accidents. Then, surprisingly, in areas such as Joburg, then it becomes quiet because everyone has left. So from days like yesterday, today, we're back to actually getting busy on the roads.
Because people are coming back.
People are coming back, yes.
Yeah. But, I mean, you guys you are on standby 24 hours a day. How do you cope, you know, as you know?
We always say passion drives us, you know, because it's a very demanding job. We're exposed to very traumatic scenes. We first on scene, so we still get, and you can still hear the screaming, you can see the pain in patients' faces, but at the end, we always say passion is the only thing that drives us. It's not a very easy job to say.
It does not take its toll on you guys.
Yeah, well, eventually, it obviously does. We do go for counseling, but at some stage, I guess, you just can't take any more. Eventually, it actually does, especially in places, big cities like big provinces like Gauteng. We're exposed to a whole lot of traumatic scenes. Yeah, some of us end up moving into something non-medical related altogether because of all the toll you've been taking through the years.
What are some of the worst experiences that you've
we can talk about the story you were mentioning now about the bus accident in Limpopo. I mean, you only hear there's one survivor. Imagine going to such a scene. And the job of us emergency medical personnel, we're there to try preserve life. So hearing that their passengers were fallen off the bridge, you don't just rush to declare them dead. You're actually going to go there, see if they know hope of maybe resuscitating. Those are the kind of scenes we see. Now, if you ask me what are the worst ones, I guess it's hard to say. We're exposed to everything, especially in these big metros.
I mean, when you reflect, you know, on some of the experiences, what are the sort of things that you think you wish, right, maybe I should say, the public could be aware of? In other words, they say prevention, you know, what are some of the things that people can do to avoid? I mean, accidents are, by definition, you know, accidents. But you often hear people saying some of these accidents are, in fact, preventable. You know, they're not accidents per se.
So studies have proven during holiday seasons, mostly patients on chronic medications. So maybe you're talking diabetic patients who are on maybe heart medication. I think they actually end up forgetting taking medication. The families are around, you know. And I would say we actually get a lot of such emergencies from chronic patients, cardiac patients. If at least chronic patients could continue remembering, look, take your medications, then continue going out to celebrate with the family. Then on cars, alcohol. Alcohol has been a big issue we've had for years, people driving under the influence. That one, I think the government, EMS, we've tried to educate people. But I guess some of it is just common sense, to tell you the truth. You don't really need medical personnel to come teach you. The other unfortunate things which I think we need to try educate people more, what we're seeing, people changing tires by the sides of these busy highways, and they're not wearing reflective vests. They're not visible at all, and it's resulting in many fatalities.
What about road conditions? I was taken aback, the other day, when the minister said that the road on which that bus was traveling, is not the best of roads, and trucks and buses, shouldn't be traveling. I didn't quite get the actual context, but the role of road conditions in these accidents.
Yeah. I haven't really read much of the merits of that roads, but I've seen some drivers preferring to use smaller roads to avoid paying the toll gates. And these smaller roads are not maybe conducive for certain size of vehicles. So for this one, it could have been that. And also for us, emergency medical personnel, for us to get out to certain remote areas, it takes us time. So certain roads would be nice if they could stick to maybe the major ones. Because remember, we still need to respond. And for us to respond, yes, we do drive at fast but safe speeds. So if the road conditions are also compromised, it's also going to make our response time much longer. And help is only going to be there much longer. Roads have been a factor, but in some cases, as I'm saying, I don't have merits on this case, but just in general, we've also observed some vehicles not being roadworthy. Just mechanical issues that people maybe just don't pay much attention to, brakes not working, such things.
Do you think we do enough public education, given our history of fatalities, especially during these holiday periods?
So it's interesting that when you look at how other countries work when it comes to getting licenses, it also comes with some sort of education, even some actually countries give you first aid training as well. It would be nice maybe in South Africa if we could start adopting what we're seeing in other first world countries. Yeah, I think that would help. I think maybe it's ignorance to some. I wouldn't want to think anyone would really intentionally want to cause such. If it could be maybe part of the license system, when you also renew your system, maybe there's a short course that could be run so people are aware.
Well, there's been a lot of talk about the demerit system, where people get punished if you're a repeat offender, or you lose points, and it could even end up with you your license being taken away. One of the stories we're running today is one of the ministers saying more than 20 cars have been taken off the road because people didn't have a PDP. Okay. Do you think such things work? Do they work, for instance, in jurisdictions where it's common practice?
What would we say then about drivers who don't have driver's licenses? We have been to scenes where, and it often happens with taxi drivers. They're involved in an accident, and one of the things we do as medical personnel is try to count the number of people that were in the car. Obviously, the driver should have been there. You get to a taxi accident, you can't find the driver. So we start worrying, maybe got ejected from the taxi, only to maybe hear the bystanders telling you he got out and ran away. And the cases we've heard when we talk to the police, they usually say these drivers don't have licenses. The demerit is going to work obviously on people who are on the system, but it seems as if there's also a huge percentage of people who are not licensed drivers. Those ones, what do you do? But that obviously I'm sure the state would have ways of going around it and addressing it.
I know taxi drivers aren't, particularly popular. People have this reputation, maybe it's a stereotype, I don't know, of being reckless, with a devil-may-care attitude. What's the sense among you guys who encounter them on a fairly regular basis?
Surprisingly, when they see our emergency red lights behind them, you'll be surprised they actually give us way. You know,
they're not as rude as people.
They're not as rude with emergency lights. Maybe it's because they know we also get to help them. Look, we try to educate them, not to overload, and they also stop at any spot. They overload taxis. I mean, we get to taxis where you've seen, I think you've had cases of even school kids who are overloaded in cars. We try to educate them, but look, I guess they're also doing it for some financial benefit, so I don't think they're going to quickly take our advice, but we're trying.
I mean, obviously, when headlines scream 45 people dead, all of us, feel, sure, this is really bad, or the situation out there is quite bad. Just without perhaps the benefit of research, but do you feel that things are getting better or getting worse?
Look, the thing is it getting better or worse? The important thing is some accidents are not recorded. Okay, this one was. But for this year, I think post-COVID, I would want to say it has been slightly quiet. It's only starting to pick up, but pre-COVID, I would want to say the government is really trying, but states seem to always be somewhat a bit high, but the government is really trying. At the end, I just think it's ignorance on our part as the driving population.
Owen, Manhire, thanks very much for your time, man.